cold, calm, dominant, observant, controlled, slow menace, sharp authority. Most people walk into a room thinking they're invisible. They think no one is watching, no one is measuring, no one is judging. They're wrong. Because long before modern psychology existed, long before neuroscience, behavioral science, or negotiation theory, there was a class of men whose survival depended on reading people faster than anyone else on earth. Samurai. If they misjudged someone, they died. If they trusted the wrong man, they lost everything. If they hesitated, they were erased from history. So they developed a system. Not for conversation, not for charm, not for persuasion, for perception. And once you understand it, you start seeing people very differently. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never accept. You are being evaluated the moment you enter a room, before you speak, before you smile, before you shake hands. Your posture already voted, your eyes already confessed, your silence already told a story. And the people who understand this control the room. The samurai understood something modern society forgot. Power is not loud. Power is observant. In feudal Japan, the samurai lived in a world where deception was normal. Political alliances shifted overnight. Friends became enemies. Loyalty was rented, not owned. A wrong read could cost land, honor, or life. So they built a mental framework. Not based on emotion, not based on trust, not based on appearances, but on behavior under pressure. Because pressure reveals truth, and the modern world is full of pressure. Job interviews, negotiations, business deals, dating, office politics, social hierarchies. Different battlefield, same psychology. The first rule of the samurai method is simple. Never start by talking. Most people do the opposite. They introduce themselves, they explain, they perform, they try to impress, which is convenient because when someone talks too early, they give away control. Samurai started with silence, not awkward silence, weaponized silence. They would let the other person speak first and keep speaking, because the human brain hates uncertainty. Silence creates psychological discomfort. Discomfort creates leakage. Leakage reveals personality. People reveal more trying to be liked than they ever do trying to be respected. The nervous ones fill space with noise. The insecure ones overshare. The deceptive ones over-explain, and the confident ones, they wait. Here's where it gets interesting. Modern psychology confirms what samurai already knew. In behavioral research, silence increases cognitive load. When someone talks uninterrupted, their brain runs smoothly. When they're forced to fill silence, their stress levels rise. Heart rate increases. Blink rate increases, micro-expressions appear, the mind starts leaking. Which means silence is a diagnostic tool, not a social flaw. The calmest person in the room has the highest status, and status controls outcomes. The second rule is eye discipline. Samurai trained their gaze like a weapon. They never stared. They never avoided. They never wandered. They looked once and remembered everything. Modern neuroscience tells us the eyes are directly connected to the limbic system. That's the emotional brain, the fear brain, the survival brain, which means your eyes react before logic does. Fear shows up as rapid blinking. Deception shows up as forced eye contact. Submission shows up as downward glances. But dominance is stillness. A dominant person doesn't need to scan the room. They assume the room will adjust to them, which it usually does. Watch people in meetings. The ones who talk the most are rarely the ones who decide. The ones who decide barely speak. They observe. They let others argue. They let others expose their positions. Then they speak once, and the room shifts. That's not charisma, that's control. The third rule is posture. Samurai could read a man's intentions from the way he stood. Feet pointed toward escape, weight shifting constantly, shoulders rolled forward, chest collapsed. These were not neutral signals, they were psychological tells. The body is always honest, because the body is older than language. Language evolved maybe 100,000 years ago. Body language evolved millions of years ago. Your brain trusts posture more than words. That's why someone can say, "I'm confident," and still look weak. Your mind believes what it sees, not what it hears. Here's where most people get fooled. They focus on expressions, smiles, frowns, tone. Samurai ignored all of that. They watched structure, spine alignment, weight distribution, stillness under pressure, because stillness means regulation, and regulation means power. A person who controls their body controls their reactions. A person who controls their reactions controls the interaction. The fourth rule is listening for what isn't said. Samurai were trained to study pauses, not words, because words are chosen, pauses are not. When you ask someone a question, the brain runs a calculation. What's the safest answer? What's the smartest answer? What's the answer that protects my image? That processing time creates delay, and delay reveals motive. Fast answers are rehearsed, slow answers are filtered, deflections are defensive, and defensiveness means fear. Fear means leverage. Now here's where most people misunderstand. This is not about manipulation, it's about awareness. Because the person who understands the game doesn't have to play it. They can walk away, they can stay silent, they can choose their position. The dangerous people are not the ones who dominate, they're the ones who see everything. Samurai never rushed judgment. They never trusted first impressions. They never trusted charm. They never trusted confidence displays. They trusted consistency. How someone behaved when they had power, how someone behaved when they had none, how someone behaved when they were challenged. Because pressure reveals character, and character determines outcomes. Now zoom out. Look at modern society. We live in a world of image, social media, personal branding, curated personalities. Everyone is performing, which means the real signals are buried, but they're still there, in posture, in silence, in eye movement, in reaction speed, in emotional control. The rules haven't changed, only the costumes have.